and I never forget. Me and Big was real cool. You know what I'm saying? Because we had just got through doing some of the first shows we had done as a crew, in New York, with Outkast, supporting and promoting the first album. So we were doing a lot of that. We was making those runs for the first time. And there's a story that I talked about on the Breakfast Club where Big, kind of reached out to me. Well, first and foremost, Big was in the front of that stage, singing word for word my verse to Get Up, Get Out. So he had a lot of love for me as an MC. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, "Yo," he said, "I don't really know what your situation is, but when you get your business in order, man, I want you to come be a part of my project, which would ultimately end up being Ready to Die." You know what I'm saying? So I really don't know what happened with that or why we wasn't really able to get that done. But it was still a bond and a connection between us, even though we didn't. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be a part of it, which is now legendary. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, when we walked up on stage, man, like the homie, he spoke to me. I heard him. We was close enough to him where he was like, "Yo, CeeLo," you know what I'm saying? So man. I don't know, man. I wasn't tripping off all of the negative, and it was a little bit of the booing going on, but then it really got, the energy got specific when when Suge did his thing up there.
Yeah, we remember.
Yeah. If you may, I heard you talking about a story where you were pretty much in, I think it was Vegas tonight with Biggie, or LA. Where did Biggie die? LA, where Biggie died that night. And could you talk about that story for our audience? How you recall that?
Yeah, man. I try to make it short. You know what I mean? But yeah, we were out there celebrating Aquemini. No, it was ATLiens. It was Outkast's second album, ATLiens. It had gone platinum, so they were doing a platinum party out there. So we were just kind of like in the mix, doing all of the networking and all the associated events, that were going on. So, we was gonna stop by the big function and rock with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, because again, we was all extended family, Dungeon family and Bad Boy. Like we basically all started together, being that Puff directed Players Ball. He directed the video for Players Ball for Outkast, and people don't know that history. So that's how far back we go. So we was going over to support them like family would. And, it was like an eerie kind of feeling because, everything was happening. And, but, sometimes, like you kind of you gotta still handle your business, you know what I mean? And maybe it was obligatory in nature that they had to be there or whatever. But anyway, they were celebrating. They was feeling good, because I remember Hypnotized was banging, like it was just on repeat, like it's like the only song that was playing that night. And we got there a little late, man. You know what I mean? And so it was kind of thinning out. And they were at a table, and it was kind of, it was like on the dance floor. They wasn't behind a rope. They didn't have security or nothing. They were just at a table, like people could walk up to, almost like you would, like a autograph signing kind of table, like you know what I mean, like that. And at first I didn't think anything peculiar about it, especially then Lil C's walked over to us. He was like, yo, what's happening? And I remember really, really clearly how he asked, like, yo, who produced that Black Ice beat that touched what I never touched before? He's like, yo, I love that joint, man. So we was talking and blah, 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 threw up the piece to Big and Puff and all of that is showing love. But, Gip whispers to me, he says, like, yo, basically, he's like, let's get the fuck out of here. And I was like, why you say that, big bro? Shit, we just got here. He said, man, like, he just said, let's go, man. This shit just don't feel right. So anyway, we left, and by that time we had gotten down to the down the way to the Outkast Platinum Party, and we was in there for about 30 minutes, and it was Gip again who came and got me off the floor, and he was like, man, let's go to the room, man. They just shot Biggie up the street. And yeah, man. So we were staying at a hotel where everybody was at. You know what I mean? So it was the Le Parc Hotel. If y'all ever been to LA before, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah. So we was walking in the lobby, And you know, man, I know this is sensitive, and this is the second time I'm telling this story, but you know, it was Buster, it was Spliff, you know, and a couple other homies, you know, what I mean, like out there, just in tears because we wasn't really certain 100% if he had died or if he was shot or what happened. We weren't certain about what was going on. We tried to get the information. You know what I'm saying? And so, but when we got to the hotel, it was official because they was like right there in the lobby, hugging and embracing and crying. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I was like, damn, this shit is true. You know what I mean? So, me and Timo from Goody Mob, we jumped in the truck with Buster and his crew, and we went up to Mount Sinai, man. And we were there at the scene where the Suburban is taped off, right in front of the emergency door exit. And it's crazy because we was looking at the show Hip Hop Evolution on Netflix, and there's a clip where you could see Timo's jacket because it had a big Goody Mob logo on it.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, so anybody who ever doubted, you know, I mean, not that they have anything, but like, or felt like that story could be exaggerated in the least bit, it's all facts. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we definitely was there. We definitely witnessed that. It's still unfortunate. He's still missed, and he's still one of the greatest of all time, man. So rest in peace to Big.
Right. I want to ask you about the atmosphere after that. We were kind of young when that happened, but the atmosphere in Atlanta and all over in hip hop after Biggie passed away. How was it like experiencing that?
Well, you know, it was just it was crazy because we had just lost Pac, you know what I mean, a year prior, and you just aren't ever prepared, you know what I mean, like for. I mean, I couldn't have foreseen that, you know, in a million years that you know what I mean, like two of our greats would be cut down. You know what I mean, like so prematurely.
Mm-hmm.
And for those reasons, you know what I mean, like whether if it was accurate or exaggerated, and you know what I mean, like the end result was tragic and permanent. You know what I mean, like there's no coming back from what that end result was. You know what I mean? So, you know, I wish that, you know, being the fact that we knew both of those camps, you know, very well. Pop was also a comrade of ours as well in the struggle and the things that we chose to address musically. You know what I mean? Like we shared a common you know cause.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, I hated. I had a you know, I had a disdain for what had happened. You know what I mean? Like, you know, because, you know, you feel like you somewhere in your subconscious you feel like, damn, like if I'd have known it could ever even gotten to that point, you know, me knowing both parties, maybe it was something I could have done. I mean, like maybe I could have, you know, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like help, you know, the brothers sit down at the table and you know, and speak civilly. You know what I mean? Like and work it out. But of course, you know, that situation there was much bigger than me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so in theory that feels good and it's a little bit of closure. But again, in retrospect, it's just like, damn, like all of that shit was just so wrong. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Nipsey Hussle, you know, somebody who was taken away from us too soon, you know, last year. You worked with him on his new project. Could you explain that experience on working with Nipsey Hussle before he passed?
I met Nipsey some years back, and the brother had a really good spirit, you know what I mean? And a really good energy, and a transparency about him. All of the things that we came to know and associate him with in terms of his ideal, in terms of his intelligence, his, you know, and the way that he articulated, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I was able to see those things because those are characteristics I would look for in a comrade, you know? And so he struck me that way, you know, like young, but still a real one, you know, like, you know, in addition to that, you know what I mean? Not above and beyond that, but in addition to it. You know what I mean? Like, so it was authenticated, you know what I mean? In that way as well, you know what I mean? But, you know, but then some years later, he reached out to me, you know, with the song idea. And, you know, we didn't really, we didn't get the opportunity to go in the same room and do it together. You know, so I listened to the record and, I was trying to gauge, you know what I mean, like, you know, what context he was speaking and how I could paraphrase and summarize, you know, like for the sake of the hook, you know what I mean? You know, so and that's what I came up with. And you know, they loved it to say the least, and it made the cut because I've done different hooks for different people that have yet to see the light of day. Because you know, you might do something like I got a couple of songs with Schoolboy Q. And, like, you know, there's a couple of people, you know, that I've done records with that didn't really see. Let's say even a record I did with Kendrick that ended up being on his unmastered album. I forgot what he called that project that we put it out.
It was called Unmastered. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So that almost didn't see the light of day, but it was always a dope idea. I had thought, you know what I mean, like, you know. So, but yeah, but that's how it go, and that's the game, man. You might end up doing a record, and 20 more records come after that, and then a song gets backlogged. You know what I'm saying? So, but I was fortunate enough to be a part of what ended up becoming, you know, his crowning achievement and his legacy album. You know what I mean?